I would like Sharma ji to come in, and that will be nice. I'm not sure whether I have done justice to his subject, but Sharma ji has been the torchbearer of Prashna, and whenever I am in any doubt or any problem as far as astrology is concerned, I take shelter behind Parashar. I always refer to Parashar and I say, okay, Parashar has said this, therefore I am following this principle. But as far as the Prashna is concerned, I always take shelter behind Sharmaji, who has been a teacher to thousands of us in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan and elsewhere. And I continue to remain his student despite the fact that we have even taught together. And I was his junior colleague also, but I remain his student. So, hello to Sharmaji and Saurabh. And Namaskar, sir.
Great, namaste, welcome.
प्रणाम गुरुजी, प्रणाम।
लास्ट चार्ट आप कर रहे थे, तो ये जो लास्ट चार्ट आप कर रहे थे अभी, तो उसमें आपने बताया था कि वहाँ पर इन द लास्ट चार्ट इट वाज द वृश्चिक लग्न एंड नवांश इज आल्सो इन वृश्चिक, तो वर्गोत्तम लग्न। लास्ट जो चार्ट डॉक्टर साहब कर रहे थे, लास्ट चार्ट डॉक्टर साहब वाज डूइंग, it was this Scorpio Lagna and this Scorpio Navans. So it was the Vargottam Lagna. The thing is that it is a fixed sign. So fixed sign is, so you have to see that we say that status quo there. So status quo. Then I asked Dr. Charak, by the time he got, he was telling that he was to retire. The order was not issued by God. If order were issued for his retirement, then he would have retired. I tell you, when the question was asked, by the time he would have not received the retirement orders. So the status quo is there that the person is in the job. So that will continue. You see, one student of mine, he asked the same type of question. That his boss, his transfer orders have been, the Scorpio Lagna was there, and his boss was transferred. And he was trying to, then he said that what will happen? Then I said that you tell him to prepare for the journey. He will have to join the transfer place. So then he said, sir, this is fixed lagna. Like, I know. But the status quo is there that the person order have already been issued. So because whatever that present, that will continue. So status quo means that first you say that status quo is there. Same thing, because this is very, one person came to me. He was involved in some murder case. He was implicated, rather, wrongly implicated. So he came to me and he said that the lower court has given me punishment. Now I was jailed. Now I am out of the jail. So and I have approached the High Court. So what would happen? So fixed lagna is there. So that's the same thing, that he will continue to get the bail, because at the time he was on the bail. He was continuing to be bail, but will not get any relief from the High Court. Am I clear?
I'm sorry.
Yes, it is clear.
Dr. Charak, why don't you?
I'm not getting the sound very well.
Yeah. Well, I think the point, I may be wrong, but I think the point is about the status quo.
Saurabh, can you repeat it?
Yes. I actually started typing as well in the chat. I think the point that Sharmaji is making is that at the time of the question, when the question was asked, if the chart is showing that status quo is going to remain, then we need to look at the situation at the time when the question was asked. If at the time
Right.
of the question being asked, the situation was that he did not receive the communication that his job is getting over, then the job is not over, and the status quo means that the job will continue. But if the orders had been issued and communicated that the job is getting over, then that status quo will continue, and in which case, status quo actually means a change because the change has already been communicated.
I was not asked the question. I just made the chart for the time when the conversation started. So it was basically a question from my side. And I didn't tell him that I had done the question, but I wrote my findings and then I sent it to him after he confirmed that he had been, he had got the extension.
When he asked, so what this retirement orders issued or not at that time when the question.
That's a very beautiful point, Sharmaji. Thank you. It's very interesting. Sharmaji, I don't know whether I'm sure Dr. Charak already told you, but we have been in this session learning your tricks and your techniques through Dr. Charak. And there are a lot of students here who are on the call right now. There are a lot of other people who have joined because they wanted to just listen to you, although they were not part of the course, but they are still here to listen to you and just get some nuggets of wisdom from you. So thanks a lot for joining us. We really appreciate your presence. And if you could just talk a little bit about what your journey has.
We have to see the situation. This book has come. Have you seen the book?
We have seen the book. Yes, we have the book with us. Most of us have the book.
You should be thankful to Dr. Charak because it is only due to his efforts that the book came out. Otherwise, this book was written some 20 years back, and I was not very keen to publish it. Then it needed something editorial part also, some editing some need. So Dr. Charak, he undertook the work to edit them and get it published. So you should all be very thankful to Dr. Charak.
Yeah, Vinayji, you can show the book once more. You were showing it earlier.
Yeah,
that's the.
This is the book Art of Prashna, Principles, Techniques, and Applications by Shri J.N. Sharma, editor Dr. K.S. Charak. And it has got so many question marks. Prashna, 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 Prashna.
So, Sharmaji, since we have all of us here, we have been listening to Dr. Charak about your techniques and all of that. We thought that it would be a good idea if you could also talk a little bit about, how has been your journey? How did you decide? How did you come up with these techniques?
With me, that some people are, there's a difficulty with me is that one there's a bypass surgery. So that is why it has affected my this voice also.
Ji.
So I beg your pardon if you are getting some difficulty in getting my voice.
No, we are just grateful that you are here, and I know you are under a lot of difficulty. The fact that you are taking, and it's very kind of you to be here and talk to us. We are very we are very grateful for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
If anybody else has any questions or you want to ask anything,
you please continue.
Dr. Sharma, we have asked.
Dasha. How does he look at the शर्मा जी? आप दशा और प्रश्न के बीच का विवाद कैसे सुलझाते हैं?
ये देखिए, इसमें सीधी सी बात ये है कि every question needs an answer, and in astrology we have to give us some time frame. So time frame, see, I don't say that the Prashna system is not good, but the time frame, the exact time does not come in the the Parashari system. Parashari system, only this Tajik system gives the correct answer. You see, when the nature of the question comes, and when there is a threshold between the Tamil Lord and the Lord of the house under which the question stands. So if they are together, so that the thing should terminate. I tell you that some 2-3 days back, I received this call. The person sent some, consignment to some place amounting 71 lakh. And the truck owner, he went away with all these things. So he wanted to that what will happen. I told him that within 2 days he will get some positive news. Why? Because there was a chart come between the 11th Lord and 11th Lord. So sometimes what happens that we go on probabilities. So as far as you're concerned, when we are just doing this astrology, so we should keep away the probabilities. We should honestly read the chart and insist on this. We may go wrong, but not always wrong. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Doctor, please continue. Thank you.
सर आपको बताना है, मैंने तो क्या बताना है?
नहीं, आप बहुत अच्छा कर रहे हैं.
मेरे पास तो I have got one more example to show if I am permitted.
जी.
Oh, the only one here who can permit or not permit is Sharma ji. We are all just here.
Great.
Thank you.
There is one more question. There is one more question in the chat for Sharma ji. The question is whether one should check Prashna chart by Bhava Chalit Kundali when the Lagna is say 29 degrees or 0. I mean, if the Lagna is very close, if it is almost like in a ending sign or the very early in a Bhava, should we look at the Bhava Chalit Kundali at all?
No, not Bhava Chalit. It is only the Lagna. The day one chart.
Okay.
If it is 29 degree, then the things are coming to culmination. I tell you one instance that in my class, somebody put this query on the board, and the Lagna was 29 something. And then I said that it seems to be a health question. He said that yes, this girl has met an accident and she has been operated. So what will happen to her? Because she is already dead. But no, sir, no. Yes, she is already dead because the age is over. Lagna was 29 past something. Then he said, no, sir. Can you contact them? I said, yes, please. When he contacted them, the person replied that we are in the cremation ground doing cremation of the girl. So we have to, because this system was there. So it can give some frame of time to us. When the key of the key of the art of the Prashna is that closer the itasala, the sooner the event. Keep always this thing in mind. Closer the itasala, the sooner the event. And you have to, at every time, you have to keep this yogas in mind. Because without this yoga, it will not work.
Okay.
And this yoga needs a lot of practice. Because I have seen some very famous astrologers do wrong, reading the yogas.
Sharma ji, can I ask where did you learn and how did you develop these techniques and how long did it take and what were the sources, and where did you learn your own technique from? How did you develop it? And
You see,
it is working so accurately.
as I have written in the book, this Mr. KG Dutta was my guru. He was very famous in Delhi as far as this Prashna is concerned. So I learned from him. But he was doing only this Hora technique. Because I started coaching and teaching in Bharti Vidya Bhavan. So this Hora practice will not, so we have to keep them busy for the 6 months. So I adopted this technique. Then, and second thing is, I do, and I effectively also do. At times you get away from the power, this principles. But certain principles don't apply. So you have to pass. For instance, I was telling that this person lost some consignment of 71 lakh. So the child wasn't to be there because the Lagna Lord or this. Yes, 11th Lord was on, it was moon, 11th Lord, with 28 past some degrees. And you see the moon, this Mercury was there at 1 or 2 degrees. So, as you know, that in this Tajik system, it is written that if the planet is 29 plus, 29 plus, so he can be considered in the next house. So I took a chance that the 28.1, but that planet after 2 days was coming to making some making exact charge with the Lord. So I took this chance, but I said that you will get some positive news. So I deviated a lot I had developed the system like that.
Sharma ji, one thing arises in our mind often, like the querist doesn't get their desired answer in the query Prashna, and the querist is very eager to get an answer that his heart, mind, and soul is yearning for. So he asks a Prashna again in a few days or a few hours or some time. What do you think, Sharma sir, Sharma Guruji, that how long a Prashna chart is valid for, or how long we should wait for? We should not cast another Prashna chart for the same Prashna.
When the person comes to you for the first time, you give some timeline for that. That in some in this period, the 855, before that time is passed, you should not do the second Prashna. You should not undertake the Prashna. I remember that one of our friends, Dr. Charak also knows him. He asked me a question about a person in their society. He said that the person is sick, and what will happen? One day I said, because he will not live, he will die. Then he said that, sir, Manka, what sir? So with how much we don't Manka? Not more than 1.5 months. Then after some time, he again asked the question that would you like to see the question again? Not before 1.5 months. And the person died. Because every time if you change, so your prediction will change. It is not our horoscope, which was for a long time. It is just at this momentary system. It is this horoscope is lifelong, but this persona is immediate.
शर्मा जी, any tips on timing? जैसे आपने बोला 1.5 महीना या 10 दिन, anything जो आप गाइड करें?
उसमें ये वो तो डिग्री देखनी पड़ेगी ना वहाँ पर, कि वहाँ पर तो इत्तेशाद आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है, डिग्री की कैसी बन रही है, कोई जो हम जिसको इत्तेशाद देख रहे हैं कहीं उसका कैंसिलेशन तो नहीं हो रहा है.
When you said 100 hours, this person will die. What, if you remember, how did you decide that 100 hours?
And I never said 100 hours. When?
1.5 months, you said.
Yeah, he said
1.5
1.5 months.
Oh, you said 1.5 months. I'm sorry. Yeah.
1.5 months. Because we have to see the nature of the Prashna, the nature of the Lagna. Moving Lagna gave immediate results. Delayed, this fixed Lagna gave delayed results. And then this Lagna, it gives not very dark, not very late. So then that we have to see when the itisal between the lord of the Lagna and the lord of the house for which the question has asked, they come to us. If they are not coming, then the event is not fructifying.
Sharma ji, the itasal has to be 311, 59 kind of itasal. Then only the itasal works, otherwise it fails.
Very good question. You see, some time back, I think that question has been given. So, one political, very important political person, he gave the call to Rao Sahib, K.N. Rao. And he asked that I have to go to a meeting. What will happen to that meeting? Then Rao Sahib called me. Then I told him that you tell him that he should, without any worry, he should go to the meeting, because yesterday's enemies will turn out to be a friend today. Because the nations of the seventh house, they were having some inimical aspect. And now when the question was asked, that immediately that came to the friendly aspect.
Gajab. Very interesting.
On the same concept of this thing, Sharmaji, there is also a question about, if somebody comes with multiple questions, right? And there's a question about that in the chat, that if there are more than one questions, then you use the first question from the Lagna, second from the moon, so on and so forth. Is that something that you kind of suggest, that it's okay to do like multiple questions and then use that first question from the Lagna, second from the moon, third from the sun, fourth from the Jupiter? You do that, and do you because questionnaire, the person who's asking the question is saying that I have had only confusing results unless I use only one question per Prashna.
No, we will have to do it this first from Lagna, second from moon, third from sun. We cannot deviate from this principle.
Got it.
Sir,
So
can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry, my camera is not working, but I have also a question from Sharma ji.
Okay, sir.
No.
Very nice, very nice.
Sharma ji, when you prepared the chart for my brother's death, he died in USA, and there was a Prashna. The Lagna was Makar, Capricorn, and that was the natal Lagna of the native also. His own Lagna was also Makar.
Okay.
Now, when I prepared the chart for this gentleman who was talking to me in conversation, and then I thought that he would continue in his job.
Okay.
His Lagna came out to be Vrishchik, and this native's Janam Lagna is also Vrishchik. So, is there some importance between the Prashna Lagna and the natal Lagna of the native?
In majority of the cases, either this is Lord of Lagna, or either from the Lagna or the moon, they will strike with the Nathan chart.
Right. I wanted to, make you say this to everybody. And then when I did this chart, I also looked at his Varshafal.
Okay.
And if I think it might be interesting to see the Varshafal chart also for him. And I will see if I can. No, I actually can't share the screen with it. So I don't know if there is some problem with my. No, I think Saurav has disabled me to share this. Saurav, can you allow me that?
No. Yeah, let me. Sorry, I think what happened was that for some reason you are not a co-host anymore. Yeah, please go ahead. Sorry.
Right. So I'll just share the chart, the Varshful chart also with you. And this is the Varshful chart. And his Lagna has gone to the second house. And normally, when the Lagna goes to this, the Lagna sign goes to the second house, we consider that as, getting a new job or, something positive for the source of earning. And if you look at this chart, the important thing is that Mars exalted in the fourth house, and according to Parashar, for Tula Lagna, Mars in the fourth house is a Dhana Yoga. So it ensures the monetary inflow, and besides that, you have the Lagna Lord and the fourth, fifth Lord in its Sal. So that is a positive thing. Even Mars, which is the second Lord, is in its Sal with the fourth Lord. And then the 10th Lord Moon in the second house is in its Sal with the Lagna Lord, with the second Lord Mars, and with the Yog Karaka Saturn. So all these factors again confirm my feeling that this was going to be a positive year for him. And I combined this and the Prashna, and came to the conclusion that he would continue in the job. His source of income would continue, and it would continue to be a positive year for him. So I hope that makes some sense.
No,
Yeah,
you are correct. You see, take this is Lagna for the moon sign. They will strike either with the Lagna or the moon sign of the Krishna. Then at least 80% of the cases I have seen.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. There is one more question. Like when you consider a planet with 29 degrees as a Rashi Ant, why not consider planet with less than 1 degree in the previous house? We can't hear you.
No. 29 is because we have got only 30 degrees. 29 degrees is just at the end, and 1 degree is just the beginning.
Bandhuji, if you want to unmute yourself, you can. Otherwise, if anybody else has any other questions, please go ahead.
I have a question regarding, say, if you have Lagna Lord in Itasala, for example, with the 10th Lord, but what's the difference between having, say, a 3-5 relationship, like a positive Itasala, or a 4-10 relationship? What's the difference between the different types of Itasala?
You see, the Itasala are of the two types. You see the aspect in the logic system are two types. The unique one and the friendly one. So you have to see that in what house. As I was talking about the meeting question. So that person, because what happened that because the planet that has come to the friendly aspect, then I said that he should go without any worry. And what happened? It was because so the person who asked the question was the president of a very important political party. So some people have managed to see that he should he should not find the new term, and they prepared some person to contest. If that person insists on contesting, then so when this meeting happened, I just want to asking. So in that meeting, the same was there. So the person who had to contest against me said that he is my elder brother. I will not contest against him. So we have to see that friendly, the things are there, friendly or not friendly. Second thing is that the nature of the planet. What is the nature of the planet? But the one thing is there, I remember committing a mistake. A question came to me from the missing girl, and the Nagin Lord was in the Lagna. So I said that she will come, but she did not. Later I found that the Nagin Lord was in the Lagna, but in this niche once debilitated. So these things have to be seen because this Prashna, I think that the Prashna is a very crucial thing. Crucial in the sense that our slight mistake will carry our prediction to a different angle.
Sharma Guruji,
Sharma.
Sharma Guruji, how do you interpret like Dr. Charak said that Varshfal was suggesting something decent and good on the positive side, and what actually happened was not what was desirable. So, how do you interpret that Varshfal? How do you? What is your take on it?
My take is that I don't go to the workshop. I just see only horoscope or Prashna. Rather, before the Prashna, before a person comes to ask me something, so I first prepare this Prashna chart and note down the possible questions. And you will see when you see that the question will be of the same thing, and then I generally show to them that now these are your questions. You please read this that are wrote before you ask me.
Okay, so Prashna is so important that even if you are doing a chart reading or a Varshfal or a Parashari reading or whatever, you should cast a Prashna chart at that time.
In that session, Dr. Charak was not of this. We had a group of this that way. The student they came from this Europe, and when in the evening we sat, we also sat to discuss some astrology also. Because the person who wrote that book was also our student. So in that group, the question, this lady asked that I am doubtful about my this lagna. What is my lagna? So then he said that make the Prashna chart. The Prashna chart, you see, is gave that this single lagna, the single lagna, and the moon was in the Gemini. So one क्या what is your problem? I want to ask whether my lagna is single or it is kanya. Then the question was showing the single lagna. So can you also single lagna? Then the other lady asked that what can be my question, my lagna. Because now the remaining is only the Gemini. You will have your Gemini lagna. So next day she was consulting this Nadi astrology, and in Nadi astrology they gave her the Mithun Lagna. Same.
Wonderful.
Very interesting.
Wonderful.
Very interesting. Sharma ji, I know it is past 10 o'clock. Are you okay to continue for 5-10 minutes more? Or I know you are not very healthy right now, so I don't want to prolong it.
5-10 minutes will not matter.
Acha, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
So
Thank
there
you,
is
sir.
there is one more question in the chat. Should we be looking at the Ishraf yoga as sort of a counterpoint for the itisal? Is it something which sort of negates? How do we handle?
We should not limit to this Ishraf yoga. You see, we should understand the Ishraf. Ishraf, of course, it is a negative yoga, but it gives the past. When this itasala is our present, and Ishraf is our past.
Oh, itasala is our present, Ishraf is our past.
Yes. So
Wonderful.
You try it. So now what you try? If the person, if a planet has Ishraf with any planet with a none node, you please ask about the question that something had happened to this thing, to that house, regarding that house. So you find it.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Sharma ji,
Amazing.
what factors can be used to understand nature of question the person has come for before he says it?
This is the secret you have asked.
Thank you, Guruji.
You see, make a Prashna. And make it the Namansh also. Where the Lord of this Lagna, this Namash Lagna, that suppose the Namash Lagna indicates the 10th house. Suppose this our Lagna is a Mesh in D1, it is Aries. And in Namash, it is 8. So the question will be about the 8th house.
All right, thank you. Sharma ji, there is another question in the chat that let's say we want to do something. Let's say we want to buy something, and we do a Prashna, and Prashna says no, you can't do that for next 1 year. Can we still do it in a good muhurta or something like that, or
Because this Muhurta and the Prashna, they are two different techniques.
Ji.
We cannot mix them. They are both independent. But generally it is said that if in some charts there is the chance of some unhappy marriage, it is said that if it is done in the good Muhurta, this unhappiness will be reduced to a large extent. It is said. But in Prashna, I do Prashna only and no mixture.
All right.
So when we make a Prashna, when we doing a normal chart reading, and when we do a Prashna, so the universal forces and the energies are aligned in a way that whatever Prashna we will draw at the time when our client comes to us will be in line with the general reading.
The thing is that you see, when the Lord of Lagna is making itasala with the planet, the question relates to that house, number 1. Then you take also the moon also. Because
Yes,
moon is alternative to our Lagna.
All right.
Moon is very important, very very alternative to Lagna.
शर्मा जी, it is so nice of you. आपने जो अभी नवांश में सवाल को देखने की विधि बताई, मैंने आप ही की किताब में कोई भी 5 पेज खोल के देखा और वही सब्जेक्ट के नीचे वो सवाल है. मैरिज में लगना 7th में गया है, और मतलब बिल्कुल जो आपने बताया वो 5 चार्ट मैंने रैंडमली खोल के देखे किताब में, जहां पे लगना गया वो वही चीज दिखा रहा है।
सर ऐसा है कि ये मैंने आपको बताया है, मैंने इससे पहले कभी किसी को नहीं बताया। मुझे कम से कम 90% केस में मिलेगा। थैंक यू सर।
Thank you, Sharma ji.
Thank you,
Any other?
Guruji.
We are getting a little bit late. It's 10:30 in the night in India, so we would not like to keep Sharma ji for very long. If anybody has any last burning question, they cannot stop from not asking. Please go ahead. Otherwise, we'll close it for today.
Now, I have to ask you a question from you people. Have you read that book?
How many of you have read the book? Please raise your hands. I will raise my hand.
I have read about
Yeah, just raise your hands.
one third of the book. One third of the book.
Only one thing I want to ask: whether it is it is beside also in the language. So whatever I want to convey to the reader, I'm successful in that.
Yes, you are.
Or if there is any lapse, it
Very
is mine.
successful.
I know. If there is any lapse, it is mine, because your principles are there. If I have not put them properly, the fault will be with me. So the book is fine, and of course, when I revise it, I would certainly make things look better. I know there are some deficiencies which I have left.
I wanted to know it from the point of view that when this book has been received well by the readers.
Yes, sir. Very well received. And,
yes, sir. Very well received.
As the first edition of the book, this is an excellent start. And
Thank
Dr.
you, sir.
Charak will always continue to strive to continue to improve it further and further and further.
Thank you.
But it's an excellent start, very well received, very
Sharma
nicely, very lucidly written book. And thank you, Sharma ji, for that. Thank you, Dr. Charak, for that.
Yeah, I know there are some repetitions here and there and some spelling mistakes and so on, but I hope that we'll rectify those in the next.
It is the first effort.
Yeah.
Sharma ji, I have read the Prashna Marga and Dr. Deepak Kapoor's Saab's book also, but they are very complex. There are too many things. I think in this book, Dr. Charak has and you have just given what is the most important and the most practical, and not confusing at all.
सर उसमें एक ये बात है कि जितनी किताबें लिखी गई हैं प्रश्न पर, किसी में भी एग्जाम्पल नहीं दिए गए हैं.
जी.
एग्जाम्पल नहीं दिए किसी में. So I think that if I'm not boasting, this is the first book which have examples also.
Real life examples.
Yes, and whatever examples are given, I have dealt them personally. It is nothing is fictitious.
Right. Very nice. Thank you, Lord. Thanks a lot.
शर्मा जी, आप हमें आशीर्वाद दें. You give us blessings. And what do you want us to do? How many times do you want to read the book? Minimum.
Yes, sir. The thing is there that you consider the book. I don't consider the book. I consider them as scriptures. So read again and again, and this scripture, it gives us it unfolds itself by itself. If you go on repeating it, read time and again.
Like yes, I think I get the point. We get the point. We will keep on reading the book every week for next 1 year.
Sir, I am doing this Prashna for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
40 years. And even then, I at times I feel I need some improvement. but my Guruji is not there. So who is to guide me?
Thank you, Sharma.
Thank you,
Thanks a
Guruji,
lot,
for
Dr. Charak.
writing such a nice book, and thank you, Guruji, for writing something
Thank you.
which
Thank you,
is
sir.
which is new to the Jyotish world.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone. Thanks a lot for lively discussion. I think it's getting a little bit late now, so we'll close it here. And Sharma ji, we would hope that we'll get the good grace of your presence once more later, right?
God bless you all.
And
I
I
will
think
do the
Sharma ji,
closing.
it is
God
very
bless you,
important to
sir.
thank Dr. Charak to have brought this material to us, conducted this course. I think Dr. Charak, this is a wonderful contribution that you have given to all of us and to the entire Jyotish community. Sharma ji was a gem always, but I think you have brought him out to the world. Thank you, Dr. Charak. Thank you so much, sir.